I do believe we're live. So, I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to consider and talk about committing to what's important. Committing to something that's real, right? I have been participating in the energy of commitment for a while. And I have come to believe that committing to something is worthwhile, right? That commitment has this has this energy to it. There is this line in my book of things worth saying that goes, commitment is a deliberate decision that something will be so, right? And when you commit to something real, you're making a deliberate decision that this will be real or it will be so. You'll make it so. All right? That's what commitment is to me. And this stream has become a part of that commitment as, a way of being. That every single time we show up here, I echo that commitment I made for this to be so, for this stream to exist, for this moment to exist, so me and you can be here together, right? And I find that fascinating. I found it powerful. I find it like a reality bending, manifesting, right? Because in this space, in this commitment to show up with you friends day after day, so much has changed. So many things have come into my life that could have changed my commitment to this space. And yet, because my commitment to this is something that I believe is real, right? The commitment is real, and the thing I'm committing to, I believe is real. Uh, I've not been swayed. I've not had any desire to change course. And I am willing to admit that that doesn't mean I haven't been uncomfortable, right? Doesn't mean I haven't been willing to think of other things to do, right? What else can I do? I wonder. What else can I commit myself to that will make me better? I had this whole thing today while I was doing yoga, thinking about screens, thinking about the videos or movies or TV shows we can watch on them. And then I was thinking about the upcoming festival weekend that's not too far away, and how after that I'm going to go through to Christian's place while I wait for Jovan to land here in this South Africa. I almost said the States, to land here in South Africa. And I thought about what that's going to look like. Christian does work during the day, so I try not to distract him. And then I usually spend time on my devices, right? Distracting myself. And then I had this whole thing in my mind, thinking about my commitments, thinking about the commitments I've made, thinking about the things that I could be doing, right? I never watch stuff despite of my commitments, right? Like there's no way, come hell or high water, that I'm like watching a TV show that I really like. And then I like this TV show so much that I so desperately want to see what happens in the next episode that I go, you know what? Who needs yogas? Who needs yogas? Yeah, I have students, but who needs live stream? I've made the commitment, but right? That's like literally impossible to me. So in that way, the commitment I have to gain information, if you will, from these mediums will always be outweighed by the commitments I've made before them. But then as I was, oh, Stephen G, it has been a minute. I'm gonna, boom, freaking like your stuffs. Thank you for blessing me with 5 dollars. That's 100 rand here in South Africa. 100 rand will buy you 5 breads. That's a bunch of bread. I appreciate you for showing me some bread, bro. It's nice having you here, Stephen G. Fuel. What have you been committing to? I was actually thinking about you this morning. I watched a little bit of a thing where oil prices literally went negative for a while. And there was like four friends who made 660 million US dollars in that trade. And I was like, and then I thought about you, Stephen G. Fuel, with that one moment, and someone being like, oh, Stephen G. Fuel hit a good trade. Yeah. So like, here we are. Synchronicities. I appreciate you joining me. I've seen that same video. We have the same algorithm. I'm not surprised. I mean, the fact that you're here means that we're probably similar peepers. It's interesting that we share these fractals. That's awesome. Now I feel even more close to you. Yeah, this is nice. Sending you hugs, bro. Hey, look, Steven, committed to 5 daras of something real. Yeah, it's true. It's true, Steven G. Fuel. That's real daras, right? That's going to make a real impact on my space. That's gonna make a real movement, on the bars, changing my life. Good morning, Mr. Frank Friedrich. That second, that third one is hard. Han Shavak Shistasalan. I'll try it one more time. Hans Vakistalan. Hans Vakistalan. Schneider. Hello, Vlad. It's nice having you. I don't know if you called me Frank Friedrich or something, but again, bless you. Bless you, Stephen. It's true. Adding something real to this space. I have shown up for this commitment, right? And it is one of those things that has changed my life. If not for the showing up. I mean, Stephen G, do you know when the first time was when you tuned in? Let me ask it this way. Did you start tuning in during the ARPAN days? Or did you find me on YouTube? That's really nice. I added ice again. It's so hot, yo! Holy shit! It's above 90s. It's above 90s again. Like, it really did sneak up on us a little bit. It was like, yo, winter, 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 winter. Summer again. Thank you. I don't know what you're trying to say, Vlad. I love understanding. I love it, right? But I don't understand what it is exactly you're trying to say. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, friends, for showing up for something real. Melt, people are questioning you in ZA Discord channel. That some is saying, I'm gonna break the rules for a second. Where the fuck is Melt? Huh. In my Discord channel? Have people been asking where I am? Goes to general. If you don't want to buy new Sims when traveling, that's nice of Hoopy to send Saley. Jovan actually used Saley last time when she was here. Yeah. Vlad, some is saying hi to you. Now I feel bad, Vlad. I feel kind of bad, bro. I don't know what to say other than bandwidth. I only have so much mental bandwidth, and Discord opens many tabs. Like, literally, there are like 20 tabs. 20 tabs that are illuminated. Creative space. If I click creative space, Spuds posted some art. That is actually really cool. Instantly. My username is also Vlad. Now I need to check you out. Do you know Spuds? Like, I didn't see this even, but look at that. Spuds posting some of his art. That's cool. That is pretty cool. One up star. Hoopty Hoops posting his copper snack. Is that a copper snack you have? There's like 4,000 people there, but no people is chatting. I mean, I don't know. Vlad, I might be, I don't know. Do you have the right person? I am MeltMore. Let me, if I search this, Vlad, you say your username is? Vlad. Yeah, you're not on my Discord. Also, some is also saying dead server. Yeah, like, I appreciate the love, But I don't think you're on the right server. Hi, Meltmore. Hey, King. It's nice having you here too. Sending you blessings. I'm suddenly a bit confused. I'm like, suddenly so confused. All the Zora talk, no links. Hey! Did Joe post her? Zora as well. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna close my Discord for now. Otherwise, I'll be continuously distracted. Yeah, Vlad, you're not on my Discord. Melt's community? Are you fucking with them? I feel a little bit fucked. Little bit? Mildly fucked with. So there's 50% confused. Suddenly I'm like, oh. I have like 230 people on my Discord. And it's not completely dead. Right? Not completely. Hoopty Hoops, like almost single-handedly is keeping the beating heart of that Discord channel. But Discord for me, like this is the way that I see it at least, right? Is that I show up here with you friends and then we try and build community, we try and build a synchronicity, we consciously evolve alongside one another. And then you might feel, yeah, I resonate with Melt and I resonate with what he shares into this world. And then another friend says the same. Yeah, I resonate with Melt and I resonate with what he says in the world. And then you can look over to this person and like, you resonate with that? And then we're like, we should probably be resonating too. And then you can go to Discord and resonate together. All right? That's what the Discord is for. However, like I feel this is like is your user Mellow Melt? No. Nope. I am MeltMore. You see, look at us. Mellow Melt probably has a bigger following than I do. If he has like 2,000, you say, or 4,000? Did you say 2,000? Having thousands on Discord is a big deal. I just remembered the bushes being trimmed, and you were manifesting about them. It was somewhere around that time. It's not giving me an immediate like aha moment. But I bless you, Stephen. It's nice having you here, bro. 4,000 people. Yeah. It's not my Discord. Maybe one day. Melt community. What's today's stream? Thank you for asking, King Fatas. Today's stream is about commitment, right? Specifically as it relates to committing to something that's real. You can commit extreme amounts of time to illusion, to your own grandeur in the mind. You can like fuck yourself up. I'm sorry for the profanities, but you can. You can. All right. You can mess yourself up. You can get committed to suffering. You can get committed to being sad all the time. You can get. I promise. You can get. But that's not real. It might be real experientially, but it's not real in the ultimate sense, right? Where you might believe you are unlovable and unworthy of attention. And then all of your friends and your family loves you and wants to give you attention. And then they're like, that's not real. Oh, that's not true. Stop lying to yourself. Stop being committed to that as a way of being. You look like Hyun from SKZ. I'll check it out. I need to look at that. Hyun. Yunjin? Yunjin? Yunjin from SKZ. From Stray Kids? I think this is the second time someone has actually said that. I'll take it as a compliment, but I don't know if I see. Maybe. Do I see the similarities? I don't know, yo. I'm trying to find a photo that looks more like me. Surely one of these. This one, I think. Yeah. If it will load. Thank you, Lisa. I think maybe we have similar noses. Slightly similar noses. His nose is a little bit more pinched than mine. He's a good-looking dude, though, so I'll take it. Nice. Sick. Yo, Wolf, Prairie Wolf, it's nice having you here, friend. Harvest time, busier than a bee. Bless. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the love. So that's weird. I got hit by a shell casing of a machine gun. It's hot. How did that happen, Vlad? I hope that it was like for fun, at the very least, that you were in the space. I don't particularly myself enjoy the firing of firearms. It distresses me. So having a hot shell casing fall on your body would not be a vibe. Also, why is half of your viewers sometimes smoke weed? I believe that half of the human population probably smokes weed, bro. I don't know if that's a correct number, but I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me half of humanity do actively or have at one point in their life smoked weed, I'd be like, yeah, I believe you. That sounds true. So in that way, that's why, right? That's why half of my audience smokes weed because half of everybody does. It's one of those things, bro. It's like weed has been with our species for, I think, a minimum of 5,000 years. Like we found mummified entities in China that were buried with freaking rocks of hash. Oh. Yeah, 5,000-year-old hash, and the hash was still technically smokable. Like you could. It wouldn't be strong, but you technically still could smoke. So like in that way, yeah, that's probably why, bro. Marijuana has been a part of our lives for a long time. Zoom, 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 zoom. Bless you with your harvest, Prairie Wolf. It's interesting that you share that. You and Louisiana share so many synchronicities. She literally, in my yoga class just now, shared with me that it's now, she can feel that it's autumn. And you're also living in Canada, right? She can feel autumn is now coming on, and she has to harvest all of her stuffs. And her tomatoes aren't ripe just yet, so she might have to cover them and just feel synchronous. Sending you blessings. Hope you have a good harvest. Mm-mm-mm. You see those Hanna-Barbera cartoons where someone's eyes are so tired they're being held up with toothpicks. Like that, Wolf. Jeez. Dear Sam. Is little Seth still not completely right just yet? Do let us know. I do remember you telling us that he's a little bit under the weather and has been not sleeping well. And by extension, you're not either. We're sending you love. That's a question you'd ask if you. That's not a question you'd ask if you smoked weed too. Yeah, I do believe that I kind of lend myself to the more esoteric, right? Open-minded, maybe a little bit more emotionally and conceptually aligned, right? I like talking about interesting things, the future, about my own imagination, about my own psychological dealings with relationships and the experience I go through. And all of those things do, in a way, lend themselves well to a softened attachment as well, right? And Mary Jane does definitely do that. Bedell, nice to have you here too, dear friend. Sending you blessings. I'm right beside an M2 Browning 50 cal, and the casing is hot. Mm. Mm. The black dude in the weather. Vlad, you're starting to skate on thin ice. Oh, Sam, I remember those times. They settle into a routine. It'll get better. Seth is fine. My insomnia is just acting up again. 2 to 3 hours of sleep at night. I'm hoping to talk to my doctor about it next month. I've also, and this is not me trying to be like, same, Sam, just to like relate to you from the perspective of, I've slept less. Just not completely inexplicably. Again, I've started supplementing more magnesium and B vitamins and D vitamins and vitamin K as well. And I've been making sure that I have my creatine basically saturated, right? So in that way, I've suddenly not needed as much sleep. right? To the point where I sleep like an average of 6 hours right now. And then after those 6 hours are up, I am up, and there's nothing that I can do about it, right? It's like, okay, now you do the thing. So trying to just like feel into you with that. I wonder. This is what I mean with it, Sam. I wonder if that kind of stuff is influenced by something in the collective psyche, or if is it just influenced by something that's happening in the individual mind. Maybe you can tell me what you think about that as a question. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm happy that Seth is fine though. Bless his little boy. I'm grateful for the bountiful harvest this year. Definitely thank the Creator for this gift. Love is true. Hey, a PMT. It's nice having you. My dad saw the incident. I'm sorry to hear that, Vlad. Yeah. Just recently, I saw another video that surfaced as well with a bunch of college students, being in their apartment, and someone was taking a video, and then they literally capture live that event happening and the people freaking out. I was still a baby, basically, a 3-year-old, right? So I didn't really absorb the impact of that experience. But I do remember it was a thing that people would talk about. Being in that space, I can't imagine how terrifying that must be. Love is true. On the subject of our insomnia possibly being influenced by outside factors, r/high strangeness, I am on r/high strangeness, has been on some, maybe the mind isn't limited to linear time bullshit lately. Yeah, we've been on that bullshit for a long time. It's true though. I believe it. I believe it, Sam. And one of the things that makes me believe it is because I've been only getting like 6 hours of sleep, I've been trying to get like mid-afternoon naps. And then these mid-afternoon naps, I have like two alarms. I have one that goes off at 3 when I have to like get up and get ready for my yoga. And then I have one that's like 13 minutes to 3, right? And then I basically try and like get in bed, or go for a nap around 2 to 2:30. So today was around, I think, 2:30. And then I basically go into the nap. And then by the time that first alarm goes off, right, 17 minutes had passed. And the last like 3 naps I've taken, there's this extreme time dilation that happens, where by the time it hits me, the first thing I feel is kind of panic, because it feels like I slept for so long, I was out for so long, that the alarm going off feels disproportionate to the amount of time I just experienced, right? And then I hit my snooze, and then I go for the last 13 minutes. And then those last 13 minutes are again experientially shifted, to the way that I kind of go into it. I'm not dreaming just yet again, but I do imagine the dreams are going to start creeping in again, and I'll let you know, Sam, if that helps or makes it worse. I remember the skies being empty for a week. Yeah. Suddenly, the thought of getting on a plane is not as appealing. Whew. Yeah. Something TSA. That happened on my birthday. Holy shit. I was at the Palms Hotel. My mom was nowhere to be found, and I was shitting bricks. On your birthday. Can you imagine? How old were you, if you don't mind doxing your age, Vlad? I'm super curious. Like, I imagine you were young still. I feel like you were like a teenager or something at the eldest, all right? And being a teenager, it's your birthday, right? All of the excitement leading up to that moment, and then witnessing something like that. Did you see it on TV? Maybe I can ask. How close was the Palms Hotel to the 9/11 Trade Center? The Twin Towers, I should call them actually. Mm, okay. In Las Vegas? Maybe not. I don't think it matters though. I believe it was televised, right? Like the entire America saw the second building getting hit because it like happened, and then of course news coverage, and then while they were filming again, very far, but still a target for terrorist activity. I was turning 9, a 9-year-old's brain, bro. Yeah. And like at that age, you're extra susceptible to that like fear factor, right? It was at that age that I was extra susceptible to the fears of like getting raptured and stuff as well. Like it was around that age that it really peaked for me in intensity. And then like being that age, it's your birthday, it's supposed to be a day filled with, joy and happiness, and then suddenly, right, it dawns on you like, oh no, my world is falling apart. Everything that I thought was true about my reality just shifted just a little bit. How wild. I'm happy such things don't really happen. I mean, again, I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories, but let's just keep it there. Uh, that happened. I was turning 9, very far, but still a target. Yeah. Don't they have the hotel between the train centers? I think they do probably, but not that one. Well, well, well. Hello, you wonderful things. I might be late, but my sleep debt has been reduced from 4 hours to 34 minutes. Yay. Jovan got some sleeps. This makes me happy. Uh, I want to share a little bit of our frustration, Joe. Me and Joe are both successful artists on Zora. Yes, we are. Friggin' extra successfuls. Yes. Getting support the OSOD. And we do like creating for a platform where we get to be supported, by a community. However, the app, the app is kind of like if you were in a plane and people were still like strapping panels to the outside of the plane while you were in the air kind of vibes. That's kind of what the app experience is like. And for some reason, me and Giovan's app is like you can take off the plane, and then as soon as the plane is in the air, you can be like, oh, this is nice. I can be in the air, and then as soon as you land the plane or close the app, the plane doesn't take off anymore. It's grounded. And then you have to literally melt the plane into non-existence, and then you have to make yourself a new plane, and then that plane can fly again. That's kind of been the experience, and it has been a little bit frustrating, admittedly. And we sometimes stay up trying to get our works done. And like Jovan lost some of her eloquent wordies as well. I'm happy that you didn't end up staying up to try and do more of that show. I'm loving you. I'm happy you got some sleep debt caught up on. Welcome. Nice having you here. Today we're talking about committing yourself to something real. Right? I feel like that is in part why we care so much about that platform too, because we can feel it's something real, right? We don't know that it's gonna be the thing, but we can feel like it's real, and there are real people caring about this real thing. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So yeah, bless you. It's nice having you here, friend, beloved one. God help me if the Sandman ever comes to collect on my sleep debt. He's gonna put my ass in a coma. Ah, the Sandman. Have you seen Sandman, Sam? There's a Netflix show called Sandman. Have I finished it? I did. I did in fact finish it. I don't know how I feel about the ending. I like it. I like it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I sleep when I'm dead. I've always heard the big guys say. Yeah, I've heard them say that too. I've said it myself, even, tongue in cheek, like it's funny. The joke is on you though, because it's not good for you. Get yourself closer. I grew up thinking all adults did the right thing for humanity, so it was definitely a wake up call. I can imagine, bro. I wonder what was my moment with that. Uh, like, I was very young, unfortunately, when I was illuminated on the fact that there are bad people in the world. Right? Here in South Africa, we deal with increased rates of crime and gender violence and murder. And as a result, I've been very vigilant my entire existence in this country. And my grandma has always been very vocal about how bad things are, right? She's like in her 80s, 80-year-old lady that basically single handedly, my grandpa died when my mom was 11. Yeah. So not exactly raised four kids by herself, but had to contend with four kids in the home by herself, and still is doing well. She has her own place. She does her own things, right? The world she lives in is relatively okay. But there was this moment when I was very young, Stephen G, where with the same kind of childhood innocence, right? She was telling me about this like hijacking where someone stopped their car at a red light, and then uh, some guy like broke the window and killed the person and then dragged them out of their car to steal their truck. And she's like telling me this, like, yeah, this happened. And I'm like 5 or something. I'm not even joking. I'm like dead serious. And I'm like, why would someone do that? Was my question to my grandma. Like, I really couldn't understand, genuinely. Like, it didn't compute to my brain why someone would do such a thing. And then, without missing a beat, she looks at me and she goes, because they smoked weed. Right? So, like, that messed me up for a while because, of course, now suddenly that was what I believed. Because when your grandma tells you something as a 5-year-old, you kind of believe what she says, right? There's not much else you can do as a kid. And in that way as well, like, it like drove so many misinformations into my brain at the same time, right? The right answer would have been desperation. That would have been the right answer. It's like, yeah, some people have so little that out of desperation, they do atrocious things, right? That could be a better answer, more eloquent answer to try and explain to my poor child mind why people would do such a thing. But instead, right, there had to be bias. There had to be misinformation kind of perpetuated into my poor child brain. And it did mess with me for a long time, Stephen G. It messed with me in the way where I had so much judgment in myself for adults who would do such things, right? Not only the hijacking cars and murdering people, but the thing that led to that, right? And then it took me some soul searching and finding for myself that uh, even the people like your parents, right? The adults, if you will, that you trust the most, will just like straight up lie to your face. Will just like really lie to you, just like straight up. And then that was like for me the coming up moment. And I think that happened when I was like 13 or something, right? Where I realized that the adults didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Not even a little bit, right? Because I, at that point, was on the internet for about 6 years as well. So I had been exposed to so much of the the consensus information, to say it in a way. And the more I would gain this understanding from the world, right, the more it would dawn on me that my family didn't do the same level of inquiry that I was doing. And then they would tell me stuff, and then it would be diametrically opposed to the stuff that I have discovered with my inquiry. And then I would push back, and then I became relatively unpopular with my family because I just stopped listening to the adults. I was like, yeah, you're straight up lying to me. I'm not gonna listen to you like, at all. You're not even aware of it. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Love is true. The lack of sleep will get you to that death date a lot sooner. I guess it works out. Yeah. I like how I wanted to say that exact thing, Stephen G, but I felt like that was too grim. It's true. I'll sleep when I'm dead is honestly selfish. You aren't the only person that suffers when you're sleep deprived. There we go. No one in your circle gets the best version of you when you show up like that. Exactly. That foggy, can't listen properly, can't verbalize your own internal dialogue, can't show up with any level of enthusiasm, can't really expect yourself to be kind or nice when you're in that state of sleep deprived. You're right, Sam. You're very right. And those were always my mind's responses to those big guys. So I'll be out and about today, so I don't think I'll be able to make the Sangha. I'll let you know if I'm still awful at bowling. Oh, yeah. Do you bowl with the thingies? What do you call them? Bumpers? I unironically, I don't know, I probably shouldn't say this. I don't think you friends are gonna take well to this. I unironically have only bowled once in my life. Alright? And it was with the bumpers. I don't know how to bowl either. I probably would like viscerally embarrass myself. Jeez, I'm going to bed. Oh, suddenly I'm actually getting goosebumps. Like it was like this whole bucket full of cringe just got thrown over my body in my imagining of that's probably gonna happen where I'm gonna come to the States with Joe and then we're gonna get invited to go and bowl. And then I'm gonna be really embarrassed. I'll preface, hey, by the way, just so you know, this is the first time I'm ever bowling with there not being safety bumperinos. You know, please bear with me while I gutter bowl 10 times in a row. Oh, pain. I'll be fine. I I have enough confidence to like take a beating on an ego level at the very least. Mm-mm. Oh, that'll be fun. Enjoy your day, Jovan. Love is true. Yeah, that lack of intellect that plagued my intermediate family members is insane to look back on. My mom would just feed me nonsensical information that I took for face value. Yeah, that's rough, isn't it? Like there's a movie called White Noise that I'd recommend you watch. It's good. It's good for what it is, right? It's a little bit surrealist, but very good. There's this line in it where he goes, and maybe I should search the line. I'm trying to share this line from the movie White Noise, where I think one of the protagonists goes into this monologue about how the family is the hub of misinformation. Can you help me get the right quote so that we can talk about it a little bit? And what that means. We are having a conversation in my live stream right now about how, as kids, we kind of took what our family told us at face value. And then as we grew up to become adults, it dawned on us that we've just been straight up lied to, you know, by our family. And it creates this sense of distrust where you have a very hard time actually taking them seriously when they're trying to tell you how things are. What's hard to look back on, Stephen? That's hard to look back on, Stephen. Is your mom still with us? And is she better now with the internet? Super complicated with the relationship with me and my mother. I just make sure she's not depressed and I leave her be. Long story short, she abandoned me too many times to give her the opportunity to be in my life at this point. Yeah, me and Joe actually had a conversation about that just last night. Not necessarily as it relates to mothers, but as it relates to relationships. How some relationships in our lives are like pages of a book, right? And then by the time you have turned over the pages, they need to stay at that side of the book, right? That side of reality. I'm sorry to hear that, Stephen. I'm happy to love you in this space, to show up, right? Anti abandon you in this moment. It can't be easy. I never experienced abandonment from my parents, not directly, right? They did put me in a hostel when I was 14, so I like wasn't really at home from the age of 14. But I don't really think that was abandonment. That was just them not wanting to deal with me. Abandonment of extra steps. All right, let's see. Yes, that line you're referencing is from Don DeLillo's White Noise and is captured, and it captures the exact sentiment. The family is the cradle of the world's misinformation. That's the line. It sets off this monologue that explores how the family, through overcloseness, shared comfort, and survival instincts, becomes a breeding ground for collective errors, half truths, and protective fictions. Here's the full passage. The family is the cradle of the world's misinformation. There must be something in family life that generates factual error, overcloseness, the noise and heat of being, perhaps even something deeper, like the need to survive. Murray says, we are fragile creatures. Murray? Murray says, we are fragile creatures surrounded by a world of hostile facts. Facts threaten our happiness and security. Ooh, can we just like, I'm almost like getting hyped for how good this information is right now, because that's kind of like what happened with all of our families, right? Like they were literally threatened by the facts of this reality. They were threatened by what is, so they misinformed us. They were like, oh, you know, maybe my little kids' feelings will get hurt if they knew the facts of reality. And then in doing so, they didn't serve us because now we go into this world misinformed. Holy shit, this is so good. Freaking Don DeLillo, what a dude. Okay, back at it. Perhaps even something deeper, like the need to survive. Murray says we are fragile creatures surrounded by a world of hostile facts. Facts threaten our happiness and security. Small errors grow heads. Fictions proliferate. Not to know is a weapon of survival. The family is the strongest where objective reality is most likely to be misinterpreted. What a heartless theory, I say. But Murray insists it's true. You. 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 I'm actually still getting goosebumps. That is, like, I mean, I watched the movie and like it came to me in this moment, but it just like hits me now again. Like when I watched that movie, you should watch it. You should. Because again, like months later in Ohio, that movie's circumstances literally unfolded. People that were extras in the movie of White Noise literally experienced the consequences of what they were acting was happening. Right? Imagine that. You're an extra on a movie pretending that you're running away from caustic fumes in the air. And then less than a year later, you literally run away from caustic fumes in the air. Like it breaks my brain, even thinking about it. Reflection, prompt for your live stream. I don't know if I asked for that, but I'll check it out. Oh, it's an ant. Almost squeezed him, but I didn't. It's hard to look back on Stephen. Love is true. At one point, we realize our parents are all fucked up to a certain degree. Yeah. It really messed with me. And it still does mess with me coming to that realization, right? That our parents are Flawed human beings. Kids. Our parents are kids that had kids, right, ultimately. What does it mean to say the family is the cradle of the world's misinformation? Hey, Moon, the world mocks the dreamer until it becomes the reality. Then they call him genius. Society fear those who think about themselves, cause obedience is easier to control. Yeah. I feel very seen, Moon Knight. Thank you. I am. I am the dreamer. And again, the part of myself that's ego wants to get to that moment where I get called a genius, right? I want people to analyze with AI or whatever all of my live streams one day and go, holy shit, how was this guy this informed about what was going to happen? All right. And then I want them to be like, yeah, he's so awesome. And I'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I am. But again, is that going to do anything for me? Really? I don't think so. All I can do right now is like try and make the right decisions based on what I know. Right? And I don't always. That's the part that makes it hard as well. What does it mean to say the family is the cradle of the world's misinformation? Consider how families might prioritize harmony over truth, emotionally protect each other, or unconsciously pass down skewed narratives. Yeah, like the skewed narrative unconsciously that my grandma had, that smoking a joint makes you have murderous intent and will convince you that stealing a guy's car is something that's good to do, right? Again, if she actually knew what she was talking about, she would know that that is so far from the truth. But because of her own passed down skewed narratives, right, the world that she came from, that's her truth. That's literally what she believed about reality, right? And it's so easy. It's so interesting, I think is the better word, to see how that has happened. Because again, I think it's still in part happening, where it's easier for us to blame a thing, right? And then criminalize and penalize thing instead of being like system and problems within system and behavior that arises because of the problems in the system, you know, and maybe taking responsibility as the collective system and maybe trying to change things, right? That part is so much harder than just pointing a finger and firing at it, right? Whatever it is you're pointing at. Prairie, I've really noticed in the past 10 years that my parents are just humans too. Kids raising kids basically, trying to figure it out in real time. Yeah. My mom tried. She did. She read like a bunch of books and stuff. How to deal with your autistic child. But they didn't call us autistic. They called us flower children. That's what her book was called. And then it had these cute little kids with these little flowers around their faces. All right. I don't know if it helped her really. I should ask her sometime. If the books actually help. I wonder sometimes. The more and more I think about it, the distinction we tend to draw between us and kids, between adulthood and childhood, seems harmful to the adult. It's separation, Sam, in so many words, right? It's us trying to convince ourselves that we are something we're not, right? And it's because we've been expected to be that thing which we're supposed to be, right? And it's this whole supposed to. You're supposed to be an adult. You're supposed to have a job. You're supposed to have place of your own. You're supposed to have wife and children. You're supposed to have car, right? And all of these supposed tos come with being an adult. You should grow up and be an adult. And what growing up and being an adult looks like is all of those things previously mentioned, right? And then we find ourselves in this juxtaposition, like I am an adult in body for the most part, but I have very few of those things that society would expect of me, right? And then there's this juxtaposition in my psyche of like, am I still a kid, right? And I kind of thrive on that fractal, believing that there is even more good to be had in living into a childlike fascination of this world, childlike approach, instead of trying to approach this world as an adult. I do try and make adult decisions, and I try and like apply the amount of knowledge that I have, right? I don't make brash decisions the way a child would, the way I would as a child, right? So in that way, I am growing up, but I'm never out of that fractal. One of the things that I share in my yoga class, for example, is that all of us are children to Mama Gaia, right? We're always going to be kids forever. All of us are children to our parents, always, forever, right? They can pass, we're still their children, right? And I feel like that definitely has something to do with our commitments, right? Again, committing to something that's real. You are real. An adult isn't real. Not the idea you have of an adult, right? Because again, it's this imagining, this simulacra of what you think an adult is. That's not real, right? It's not real. It's like the level of depth that there is in a person cannot be summarized in a little checklist of what an adult is supposed to be doing with their time and their life. So yeah, I feel you, friends. I'm buzzing here with you to be in sync. Like there's a threshold, and once you cross it, there's no imagination, no play, no possibility. It seems to me, that sort of thinking would be limiting and depressing AF. I mean, it is, right? I do think adults go down the sewer slide more than teenagers and kids, generally speaking, right? It is because of this stagnation, this limited way of existing. And then because of that limitation, and especially so because of that expectation of what you're supposed to be, right? Like now you are doctor, right? Let's think about traders actually. Like if you're a person that trades, you have a certain maybe level of capital, and then in trading, you put up that capital as collateral, right? In order to potentially profit from that. And then when there are these extreme market crashes, your collateral, which means all of the money you've made, potentially all of the money you've made, suddenly gets eviscerated, ceases to exist. And then people jump off buildings because they become convinced that their adulthood, this time they've spent adulting now has been cut short, all right? And it's again because of this limiting belief, convincing ourselves that we are these definable things. I gotta run. We love you, Zhao. Enjoy the bowling. We're thinking about you here with us. Sending you so much love. Hope you have the best time. Baudrillard reference? I don't get that one. Hi, ourselves, find soul, church bells, subletties, and semantics. Hey, the hoops. It's nice having you here, friend. Have a great long weekend. Indeed. Thank you. Prairie Wolf. It's a long weekend? You friends have Monday off? That's cool. How did your own upbringing shape the stories you believed? My own upbringing shaped the story that I believed as it relates to myself, that I am a bad person for not believing what my family and my upbringing believes. All right? And maybe I can say this now as well. Labor Day, nice. I'm happy you friends get to take some time. Uh, I think 2 days ago, we had a conversation about what is a good person, all right? And I didn't say it in that stream, and maybe I should have, but when I started like pulling away from religion, I did so in part because I wanted to be a bad person. How's that? How's that? And it sounds a little bit yikes when I say it like that. It was more this fractal of I realized that people were not what I was told, kind of thing, right? And this idea of what a Christian is, someone who doesn't curse and someone who turns the other cheek and add your set of rules here. I actively didn't want to be that, right? I wanted to be the person who can say fuck if he wants to, right? Without fear of burning in hell for eternity as a result of that. So I actively even like showed up like as a rebel, right? As that kind of person that the anarchist, like an anarchist, right? Some people might consider anarchy bad, all right? But I wanted to be the anarchist, right? And in that way, I feel like that's also a part of what I'm dealing with. Some kind of necessary evil. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was at that point of my life very mean as well. I mean, very is probably relatively speaking. I was relatively mean because I didn't feel safe, right? I didn't feel considered by my society. Hey, auntie, it's nice having you. I just connected with Uncle Becky like yesterday on a post that he posted to Reddit. It's nice having you here. Dear friend, sending you love. Melt, maybe you can say the other. Maybe I can. It's Miles. Hey, Miles. It's nice having you here too, little homie. I should at this point just assume it's Miles and not Aunt B. I think like the last 6 times you were here, it was you instead of your mom. It's nice having you here. How are you doing? We're having this conversation today, Miles, about commitment, you know? And maybe I can say this about your dad. Your dad is committed to seeing your family being well, right? Being taken care of. And that level of commitment is what pushes your dad to do all of the things that he does in your life, all right? And it took me a very long time in my own experience to really acknowledge that that was what my dad was doing as well, all right? So I'm here to echo to you that your dad is committed to you and your sister and your mom. Hold on, I'll be back. It's cool, little homie. It was nice having you here for a moment. Yeah, I want you to find your role and see who the good people are after you made a list of what you've. Hmm. Yeah, I think maybe that was another part of it, right? Is that the people that were trying to convince me of their own goodness because they were Christians, uh, I didn't want to be the kind of good they were portraying themselves as, right? I felt it was more authentic and in that way better to be authentically me in my roughness, in my profanity, in my anger and outrage at the system than to be, how many is your right? That's the way I felt at least. Yeah, I want you to find. I'm probably giving into some sort of fallacy, but I personally think the definition of good and bad should be common sense, with the exception of some debatable topics. I think so too, right? For the most part. Good and bad is unfortunately something that is a societal norm, right? Like we agree on what's good and what's bad. For instance, I think it's bad to die, right? I think so. However, experientially, I've seen what is on the other side, and that isn't bad, right? So in that way, there is some room for interpretation. Because again, if all of us collectively could suddenly click that dying isn't bad, then a lot of us collectively would suddenly leave or start murdering each other because we would justify it. Like, "Yeah, I'm helping, I'm helping this person. There we go. Sleep well." Would be a little bit rough, right? So in that way, good and bad is still, for the most part, a matter of societal norms, collective agreement. I find good in tending to plants. I find good in taking care of animals and people. I find good in taking care of myself as an animal and a people, right? I find good in appreciating a sunset, you know? And again, arguably, I could be watching a sunset while somebody next to me, is having their house burned down, right, by a bunch of anarchists, and I can do nothing about that. And then you can argue, you're a bad person. Why didn't you stop the anarchists from burning the house down? And I can say, because I was watching sunset. And you won't be like, oh, this guy is good. This guy's good, don't worry. You know? So like it's so vast. no melt. Listen to Anarchy from the Sex Pistols. Hold on, I'll be back. Bless again. PW. I just started mentally singing. I don't know if I say your name directly, Nancy, but it's nice having you here, friend. Singing Anarchy in the UK is coming someday, maybe. Do you live in the UK, Nancy? Yeah, the UK is having a rough time at it right now. Right? Like people are like, yeah, America is bad. Everywhere is bad. I don't think there's a single good place to be right now. Weirdly enough, no, I don't think so. I wanted to say I think maybe China is kind of a good place to be, but also not. Right? Again, with like the living standards. I was there. It's like it's good enough. It's good enough. That's kind of the way China is now. China is good enough, right? But not good. I think America still has more good heading to good enough kind of vibes, right? UK is like past the good enough part, and now it's like we need to do something to get it back to good enough because it's not good enough right now. Man. Oh, bye Nan, bye Mel. It was nice having you here, Hoops. It still floods me with adrenaline when I hear the anthem. That's awesome. Bye, Dream. Love to you. My dad said hi. That's nice. Is he there right now, Miles? That's extra nice. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for sending blessings. No melt lyrics I typed from the Sex Pistols song. Okay. I just started mentally singing. Anarchy in the UK is coming someday, maybe. I'm guessing that was the lyric. But yeah, I mean, that too. Someday might be closer than we know. The most armed conflicts are occurring right now since World War II. That is wild, isn't it? I believe that this is one of the last. No, let me not say that. I wanted to say this is one of the last conflicts we'll have, and then I instantly had this image of us nuking the entire planet, and then there being no conflict afterwards because there's no one to conflict. And I was like, oh, geez. So I don't think it's going to be like that. He's in the living room. Awesome. I don't think it's going to be like that. But I do believe we're going through some growing pains as it relates to this shift, all right? Where we've definitely gone through multiple instances of change. The last time we went through like a world war, that was the start of our industrial revolution, right? Us literally murdering each other as fast as possible means that we had to make weapons as fast as possible, right? Like our time to murder ratio was directly correlative to our ability to produce weapons of destruction, right? And we got really good at it, really good at it. And then as soon as the war ended, we still were really good at just cranking things out. And then that essentially put us on the trajectory we are in right now, you know, the hyper-consumerism kind of fractal. And we weren't hyper-consumers the first time around, you know, when the first world wars happened, the way that wealth was captured was literally by going to war and then taking land, right? That was how you captured wealth. These days, wealth is captured by attention. Wealth is captured by conviction. Wealth is captured by collective agreement on what is valuable. And in that way, I think this time around it's going to be different, right? Like there are companies like Palantir, right? Like literally AI company that is very sophisticated in killing what they would say the right people, right? And that company has exploded in value because it's a sentiment thing. It's like, oh yes, killing people as efficiently as possible is more valuable than killing a lot of them, right? And then that company gains like market value because of that. And it's absurd. Like there are weapons companies. You can literally buy the stocks of weapons companies. You can do that. Literally betting on them manufacturing more weapons and having governments buy said weapons in order to potentially bomb each other. The way I see the war going in the future is going to be like games. We're going to be doing a lot more drone warfare. So it's going to be like a bunch of essentially teenagers slash 20-something-year-olds with VR goggles, freaking mecha fighting and drone shooting each other into oblivion to like move the line, and that's going to be like, I hope at least, the extent of it. There's also going to be, of course, a lot more digital warfare, and misinformation is going to be insane. Like the amount of misinformation we'll see is going to be pretty wild. I think that's going to be the craziest part of our future. And then blockchain, I'm sorry, had to be said, is going to be one of the things that really plays a big role, because it's going to give us this ability to commit to consensus, right? Collective consensus information, instead of having to believe this thing we're seeing, right? Because we can't. We're literally at a time in our history where you literally cannot believe your eyes and your ears anymore. My mom yesterday, freaking kitty. My mom just yesterday was watching a video on her phone, and she like laughs with like giddy joy. And I like, what's so funny? And then she shows me this video of a cat catching a bunch of creatures outside, porcupines and whole rabbits, and then brings these creatures to the person's bed. And like, it literally takes me 2 seconds. I'm not even joking. I like come around the corner to see what my mom is watching, and it takes me 2 seconds to identify that that isn't fake. That is in fact AI, right? That isn't fake. It's not real video that's being watched right now. But experientially, to my mom, she was like, "Yep, this is happening. This is what's happening." Cat is catching whole ass porcupines and bringing it into the house, right? And the thing that kind of like confirmed to me that it was fake is the fact that what's the word? Conveniently, every single time the cat caught one of these creatures, there was a camera on it, all right? Like there was something filming that instance where the cat caught the porcupine, and then there was again an instance filming where the cat caught the rabbit, and I was like, yeah, cap. That's 100% bullshit. I can't believe that. There's a cat in the background. Yes, there was. Her name is Shelby. She's a cute little kitty. Mom of 3. The 3 cats we have here are all her babies. That's it. Hi, bless him again. The show C on Apple TV is based off nukes wiping out society, and it made everyone that survived blind and their offspring blind. Something like that. Holy shit. That is kind of yikes. Being blind is one of my biggest fears. Every 500 years, there's turmoil. Last one was the Renaissance. So here we are. Yeah, Prairie Wolf. We're gonna go through some tumultuous times, but I have hope for our species. A lot of hope. I believe we are the hope of our species, literally. And I've seen you friends be good. So I don't think that the world is doomed. I made a live stream the other day. Nice, Miles. That's awesome. Like learning, if I could have started at your age, bro. Holy. Like, if I started at your age, I would have 2 decades of live streams under my belt right now. Think about that, bro. 2 decades. 20 years of live streaming. I only got 5 years right now. You can totally beat me. So, Melt, a few get offended when I say I don't see you or believe you. Forgive me if I don't turn the corner on this fake. Me being the fake? You don't have to see me or believe me, bro, because I don't care, Hoopy. And maybe that offends you in me saying that, right? Whether or not you believe in me doesn't matter to me, right? Because it doesn't, I'm not kind of like pegging my ability to continue creating on your belief, right? I peg it on my belief, right? And I believe in me. And I've shown myself what I'm capable of when I believe in me, all right? So in that way, I'll push forward, bro. At least other people do believe in me, right? I have garnered the support of enough people to convince myself, at least from an external perspective, that yes, in fact, other people can also believe in you. But I know experientially that if I didn't believe in myself, there would be no belief coming from the outside world, right? So in that, it's up to me, bro. This tree has been dropping stuff on me this whole time. feel the stuff in my hair. There's a cat in the background. The cat won't, went to your right. Yeah, there's a lot of space here, Miles. You know how it be. You also live on a farm, right? So much space for the critters to go and wander into. The thing that I'm kind of curious about, Hoopty Hoops, is if you don't believe me or consider me fake, why do you keep showing up? All right. Are you trying to become convinced? Are you trying to see an inkling of real? What's the motivation is what I wonder about. Sorry, that's not what I meant to suggest. Ah, okay. Yeah, like you were very direct in your words. You were like, so Melt, a few got offended when I say I don't see you or believe you. All right. I don't know how else to interpret that. You let me know what you meant to say, I guess. Forgive me if I don't turn the corner on this fake. I mean, my question is, doesn't believe in you, doesn't believe you actually exist, doesn't believe in your beliefs. I mean, my question is, does he not believe in you? Does he not believe you actually exist? Or does he not believe in your beliefs? That is a good question to ask, Nancy. Yeah. Am I real? Am I a real person? I think I am. But that's what a fake person would say, isn't it? We have had this running joke that I am artificially generated. You know, when I started my streams, was basically at the precipice of artificial intelligence really starting to become more sophisticated, right? And if there was some sort of psyop going on, they potentially would have the technology with enough resources to fake this entire experience as it's been unfolding. However, uh, it's unlikely. I do, however, on top of that, believe that some people won't believe me in the future, right? I'll have this like breadth of information. I'll have these thousands and thousands of collective live streams under my belt, you know. I'll have proof to point at. And some people will be like, yup, that must have been AI. No way one person could do that, right? Must be fake. And like again, whether you believe me or not doesn't matter because I did it. I did it. I was here for it every single day of my life. I grew because of it. I gained the level of articulation abilities that I did because I sculpted, right? Chiseled it out of my brain, taught myself how to be what I am, right? And again, nobody else can do that for you, unfortunately. It would be great, would be so awesome if somebody can do that for you. It would be a high-paying career, I can imagine, right? Like somebody sleeping for you kind of thing. Nobody can sleep for you. You have to sleep for yourself. I'm going to leave now. See you next time. It was nice having you here, Miles. Bless you, little one. See you again. And that would be a good question if we communicate without the gradation. But we autistic, but yeah, this representing his claims to knowing, showing unlikeliness. By mouth. Just mouth. Yeah. He's representing his claims to knowingly, showingly unlikeliness. I think it is unlikely to do all of the things that I've done over the last 5 years, right? Uh, Based on that, there's no other person on planet Earth that did that kind of thing, right? So I'm literally 1 in 8 billion. But again, so are you. So are you. All of us are that. It's unlikely that you exist. Do you ever consider that? It's very unlikely. It's extremely unlikely. If you consider the amount of base pairs that exist in DNA, we're talking about the likeliness of existing exactly as you do, especially as it relates to the base pairs of DNA and the amount of variation that exists within our DNA. How likely is it that I exist? You ready to get your brain melted by some statistics? Is that gabbing you? Do you think you could set a world record for consecutive live streams? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I think somebody might have me beat at the moment. Let's see. After this thing, oh, it's actually thinking on this one. It's like, realizing that's a deep question. The likeliness of existing. Ooh, I have a Monty Python for that. Monty Python is ace. I wonder if I can open another tab and ask another question. Okay, there it goes. This is so absurd. The odds of you existing is absurd. I'm gonna like really dive into this because it's awesome. It really is awesome. But I also want to ask another question now about the consecutive live streams thing. If I open another one and I go, what is the world record for consecutive live streams? Let's see. No, this was. So I'm not exactly meaning like consecutive as it relates to like hours, like nonstop. More so every single day consecutive live streams. Is there a world record for the person who showed up every day for the longest time? Mm-hmm. Oh man. I think I'm already winning. Hey Oscar, who are you? I am MeltMore. Melting of Moors, moorings of melt. I do. I show up every single day to be here and present with you, friends. What is this channel about, you ask? We show up for something we call conscious evolution. All right? You can consider me a hippie if you want to. Wouldn't be far off from the truth. However, with this hippie perspective that I have, look at Sam being like hippie shit. With the hippie perspective that I have, I believe that most of the evolution that's happened already happened, right? I'm not gonna grow a freaking extra finger anytime soon. So the evolution that's going to happen to me is going to happen through my consciousness, right? Through my brain, through my lived experiences. And as a result, I show up with that as an intent. That every single time we come into this space, we're going to consciously evolve. Just today's conscious evolution has been centered and focused around this topic of what it is you're committing yourself to, right? And realizing that you can commit yourself to fallacies, falsehoods. No, not religious. Spiritual, maybe, but not religious. We accept all religions. We have Satanists that join us sometimes. We have Christians. We have people from the Hindu philosophies. We've had people from the Quran, Muslims, quite a few times here as well. We accept all kinds. We consciously evolve alongside all of this information. It's nice having you here. Every day I show up with a topic, and today's has been, the commitment thing. Galaxy song, really dive and melt, but if you already know, it's awesome. Love is true. Respect to the super showers and growers. Green consciousness, Dynavab, Crypto Bro, shower thoughts, and what is your accent question? That's what this channel is about. Yeah, something like that. What's your job, bro? I have a business where I do visual mapping for festivals. Let me show you a little bit of a thingy. It's gonna be in my downloads folder. MMV. Oh, pain. So here's some of the visuals that I've made for a festival just recently. Right. So they have like a bunch of LED walls, and then I'm the person who builds the visuals and then actually works the machines to make sure things get displayed appropriately. But I do want to show you my very first festival because this is actually my passion to do projection mapping. Quick share maybe. It's too far back. There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you see that? There be my flowers. So I'm like basically standing in the back. I have two projectors pointing at that festival stage, and then I software to the point where stuff is happening. That was my first festival that I ever did. And then this was my second festival. There's me with my long hair still at that point. So yeah, that's basically what I do. I think professionally, I'll say. But when it comes to the stuff that I kind of build on, I do these live streams, of course. I make art. That's how I kind of like started the whole fractal of being able to make visuals. And I'm a yoga teacher as well, a yogi, a certified yogi. And every single day I show up and I give a class too. So I do a bunch of things. I don't just have one job. It would be nice to have one job and get paid one job salary, but instead I have four jobs and get paid one quarter salary. I don't intentionally surround myself with people that disagree with me, but I don't turn them away. I like seeing the other people's perspective since I might be completely wrong. A beautiful place to be. Confident people, uh, internally confident people, become curious when they are challenged. Egoically confident people become aggressive or attacking, right? Defensive when they are challenged. So, like, just remembering that helps as well. Are you a professional streamer? A professional as I can be, you know. I think if you've done it for like thousands of days consecutively, you're pretty professional at that point, I guess. But I don't necessarily think I'm like up to the standards I would like to get to what I imagine my stuff could be like. What is meant by spiritual? So spiritual to me, the way that I like to define it, because it's easy. It's one of those little patterns I have in my mind. Religion is when a bunch of people come together and agree on what God is, right? So you said you're a Jew. In that way, you have a Jewish community, right? And in that religion, you know your Jewish uncle or your Jewish grandma or your Jewish friend believes in the same God you do. And then that's a religion, where spirituality is the pursuit of what God is. So, since I'm a spiritual person, I don't know for a fact that what my idea of God is your idea of God. But I'm not judging you for your idea of God because I realize what is important is for me to be in pursuit of that. All right. So that's what my experience is like, at least. Not so much religious and spiritual. The philosophy regarding religion and spirituality is that truth is like water, and you can find that stuff all over the place. Wisdom comes from multiple sources. That kind of looks AI. The pyramids are AI, but these ones, like this is how I started. Let me show you my art. These I make by hand. I of course use a piece of software, but I manipulate the software to make these things. Right, and I mean, the thing with AI is like you can get relatively decent outputs, but you rarely get high definition outputs. And sure, you can like upscale things, but upscaling something like this is not going to give you that level of clarity. Right. So I pride myself in making art that's not AI as well. However, I do believe that AI art can be good if you have good taste and if you're willing to put in the work, right? If you're just prompting and then you use that prompted media directly as is, I think it's always going to fall short. But if you prompt and then you take that media and then you layer it with different sets of media, then you get something a little bit more visually intriguing. Is that a party or something? It was. Festivals. I'm not trying to make you feel interrogated. You can interrogate me all you want, bro. I like being interrogated because I'm confident that I'll be able to answer your questions. Melt said he builds on stream, but I never caught. You never caught? Yeah, some people drop the ball all the time, bro. Off for a walk. Bye, everyone. Love you, Nancy. Have you ever made money from streaming? Yeah. Yeah. Last month, I made 1,600 Rand. I'm like up to 700 bucks. I made $5 just in this stream from Stephen G. All right. So I earned at least $5 with this live stream. I love spiritual. The word refers to anything existing beyond the physical plane, the chakras, the spirit, the metaphysical framework the Kabbalah talks about. That's all spiritual. Exactly. That art do have nice quality. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Love is true. Thank you. Thank you, Oscar. Let me share this with you, right? So those pieces that I showed you, those pieces that I showed you are like my, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm gonna calm down in a second. There we go. Okay, I've gathered myself. So after I make those, I spend time painstakingly going really close and then cutting away pixel by pixel by pixel all the way around those edges, right? To make myself these like final pieces. This is me with my upload schedule, so I'm trying to make it easy on a glance to know which ones I posted. So yeah, these are basically my masterpieces, my Mona Lisas, all right? These are my final forms. These are the ones that I sell, essentially. These are the ones that go onto my Zora. I have earned, because I haven't cashed out, but I've earned more than 22,000 Zora, doing that. And you're like, I don't know what a Zora is, Melt. A Zora is like 7 cents. So like 1,800 US dollars that I can technically liberate right now if I wanted to from my art. But I believe that my art is supposed to be like a safety net for my supporters. Those that support me won't have their liquidity, at least not in one shot, just taken from them, right? Maybe one day I'll want to like treat my family to a meal, and then being able to pay for my meal with my flowers would be experientially nice. But ideally, I won't have to do that because I'll have other forms of income as well. Hallelujah. Praise you, Stephen G. You gave me that instance of getting to be like, yeah, I did earn money just because you chose to send me some love. I just see you on my feed all the time. So I wanted to know what this is about. Well, I'm happy that you decided to stay today. Your friend, thank you for choosing to tune in. Philosophy, meaning of the life stuff, that's what it's about. Yeah, we talk about philosophy a bunch. For instance, we're going to talk a little bit about the philosophy of you and the likelihood of you existing, right? So with that, we're going to go, how unlikely is me? From your specific parents, this conception, each parent can make 8.4 million genetically different gametes from independent assortments alone, 2 to the power of 23. Pair egg and sperm, and you get 70 trillion possible chromosome combinations from a single couple. Before you count crossing over new mutations. Adding recombination, chromosomes swap pieces in meiosis, which explodes diversity far beyond the 70 trillion number. The true space of possible kids from one couple is astronomically larger. Popular genetic explainers call the 70 trillion a low bound because crossover makes many more distinct gametes. Add new Devono mutations. Each child typically carries dozens of brand new DNA changes not present in either the parents, pushing the chances of an exact repeat even closer to zero. Zoom out to all humans, where humans, the human genome is 99.9% identical. Yet the remaining 0.1%, 3.2 million bases, varies enough to make each person unique. Some sources note that 0.4% if you include bigger structural differences. Either way, an unrelated person matching your full genome is effectively impossible. That's why only identical twins have essentially the same DNA. The genome canvas you're drawn on. One haploid genome is 3.2 billion base pairs. A diploid, you, huh, diploid as in two, means it's 6.4 billion letters. Tiny fractions changing in different places makes a combinatorial universe of you. A tight on-air takeaway. From my parents alone, there were 70 trillion simple ways I could have been different. And the real number is way higher once you include recombination and new mutations. Yeah. So the likelihood of you existing, of you being real right now, is minimum 1 in 70 trillion. Right. And again, our human brains don't really have the capacity to fathom those kinds of numbers. Uh, it's very unlikely. Let's just say it like that. Very, 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 very unlikely. With a lot of zeros that you exist at all. And yet here you are. Real. Real as can be. All right. It's pretty powerful. And then the record live streams things for Hoopty Hoops. I might be winning, yo. I think I'm actually winning. The longest continuous live stream, non-stop broadcasts. There are feats of endurance. Okay, this is 24/7. Like marathon sessions. No. Emily Cece's subathon, a continuous stream lasting over 1,100 consecutive days as of early 2025. That's 24/7 streaming every single day for years. Even as she slept, her stream stayed live. That's impressive, Emily. I have her beat on actual consecutive days, but she has me beat on actual consecutive time spent, right? Because of the 24/7 thing. There are some people that are doing really well. Let me see this. Longest daily non-live streaks. Not truly live streaming, but still streaks of daily activity. These are the contexts. Snapchat streaks. Katie and Aaron are reported to have the longest streak of 3,700 consecutive days of snapping each other. Over 10 years of daily interaction. And then there's a running streak where triathlon coach Tom Vickery maintained a 4-year daily run. And Ron Hill ran every day for 52 years and 39 days. 19,000 days total. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna be the person who holds that record one day. Nice. I started in 2021, right? And technically there's no one who started that early. Sick. Record holder, this guy. This guy holds records. I'm not technically properly honored yet. Maybe I'll reach out to Guinness World Records at like day 222. Yeah. And be like, what's up, Owens? Hit me up with a world record every day live streamer consecutively for the longest or whatever. But yeah, who knows? That's not necessarily why I do it. Could be a nice added bonus though. I feel satisfied with the depth we've explored in this space today. The year. You got this. Thank you, Gav. I was wondering if you're still here, actually. I remember you asking, and then I got a little bit sidetracked. The year 2020. Yeah. Why not? Why not, Stephen G? I was actually meaning day 2222, but better yet, the year 2222. Let me see. I started doing my live streams at the 1st of January 2021. And I've been going consecutively every single day for now 1,704 days. If I continue doing this until the year 2222, how many consecutive days would I have live streamed for? You got this. Thank you. Gavrigu. You support me, bro. You've been supporting me so that I can continue going. On my way to groom the Huskos. Bless you, bro. I don't know if you're in the car right now, but I hope you're going to not have to deal with their. Yeah. Days in 201 years. A day, like 73,000 days. Yeah. That includes the leap years. Yeah. 73,000. Add the days you've already streamed, and it's going to be 75,000. 75,119 days. The year 2222. I would have showed up for 75,000 days. I'm going to be one of the primordials, right? Going to be like one of those Shiva-esque characters that people are going to myth about. You know, at that point, I'm probably gonna do some ridiculous shit like goes and sits on mountain for 1,000 days just because I can. It's like, yes, I'm gonna be sitting, staring out for 1,000 days, explore my psyche without interruption. I'll still do my live streams. Maybe I'll just be quiet for it or something. Okay, done. I love you, friends. I'm gonna show you a flower one more time, and then I'll say goodbye. Here is yesterday's piece. Yeah, witness. And then listen. A work of silence, I believe this poem is called. Silence is not empty. It is the muscle beneath the skin. The steady pulse no one applauds. When the mind grows loud, shouting its doubts, chanting the names of people who do not see you, silence waits. A still river under stormed skies. You could scream, you could beg, you could throw your voice into the void, but the world rarely crowns the loud. It crowns the one who keeps moving long after applause has died. The truest work is done in quiet, when no one is watching, when no hands clap, when it's just you and the weight of what must be built. To be silent is not surrender. It is choosing to spend your breath on the work itself. The world may not value you now, may overlook the scaffolding you raise in secret, but silence remembers. Every unspoken hour becomes stone, becomes foundation. And when the house is finally built, they will marvel at its walls without ever hearing the quiet hands that holds it together. Thank you, friends, for being the quiet hands that holds this space with me. Building brick by brick. Up we go. We're not going to stop. Have a good one, y'all. Thank you for joining me again. Stephen G, thank you for your generosity. It means a lot, bro. I appreciate your friends' support. See you again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.